Borussia Dortmund lost to Freiburg, and now they are 16 points behind Bayern Munich. Janusz, will not hiring a new coach cost them Champions League football next season?
It's dangerously close right now, but I think if you look at the table, even with the loss, they're not that far away. Obviously, I think Borussia Mönchengladbach still has to play, but I think there's still plenty of season left for them to make it there. But yeah, when Edin Terzic first came in, I like what was happening, the new manager coming in, that effect. But I may have been wrong because just like his team, I don't think he's experienced enough to deal with so many inexperienced players. And I think we always knew that was an issue, but this is a bigger issue with Borussia Dortmund than we've seen in the past, having so many young players and not being surrounded by players of experience who can kind of carry them.
So you're saying it's too many young players right now at Dortmund?
Absolutely. I mean, it's even in the game today when you watch the tempo, right? You think the young players were maybe up, young team without the youthful exuberance. I mean, they just sort of they were looking for direction a little bit. And I'll tell you with the young players is that not that they can't play, because we've seen them that they're very much capable at Borussia Dortmund. But when things go well as the young players, you don't think too much. You go on that exuberance, you go with the flow, as we say. But when things go sideways, how do you make them accountable? If it's Terzic or even more experienced manager, right? After a game like this, another loss, when you have the Morris and Bellinghams and Gio Reynas and Reyna and Sanchos. I mean, they're 16, 17, 18, 19 players. Well, how do you go to them and ask for accountability and don't bring, this sort of mental attitude that they have? They're still young. You can't light into them really too often because, you got to be able to say they're just young and they're going to be important in the future. So I think that's where the problem lies in many ways, because the only players around them of note, Hummels, a great player, and I think he's been one of the better players, but I still don't think he's at a level that he once was. Marco Reus, of course, through all the injuries, hasn't been the same. Emre Can, and then what? So I just think it's a big ask, and it's almost too many of them led by an inexperienced manager, and they're paying the price for that.
You say they're too young and they're going to be important, obviously, later on, but what if it's not important for Borussia Dortmund? Because with results like this, are those young starlets who are in demand and who are being looked at by other clubs going to have their head turned and think, well, actually, I will leave now?
Yeah, I think they've taken a risk, one that they've seen before, but I think they've been able to implement that balance that when one player leaves, not much changes, right? And now you're talking about a team that, Jadon Sancho, obviously, if they don't make the Champions League, it's normal. They'll, Borussia Dortmund will cash in on him and probably even Erling Haaland. And that's not a problem, but it may be to recover from that. It may take him a little bit longer than in the past, because in the past I think they were selling or letting go players in position of relative strength. In other words, they never worried about not being in the Champions League, right? They were pushing for the title as well. And I think going into the season, Borussia Dortmund, we're thinking their players and the management saying, yeah, we're going for the title. However unrealistic, that Bayern Munich are going to be the top, but they wanted to challenge that. Now they find them in a position that I don't think they ever thought they would be, in a position where, that, of course, is long gone at a time where Bayern Munich are nowhere near being as strong as they normally are. And now they're fighting for that. So that's how, attitudes and maybe the way of thinking changes when all of a sudden you're surprised. And I hope they don't wonder why that's happening.
Which managers out there do you think would suit Borussia Dortmund?
Well, Marco Rose is one that, of course, everybody's talking about, and he's at Gladbach right now. Everybody's talking about the team glowingly, which is fair play. They've done some good stuff in the Champions League, but in the league, so behind Dortmund still as we speak. But I think he's capable of that, and I think he's going to be their man. There's some questions. Is he going to come if the best players leave? I still think he'll look at Borussia Dortmund as a much, much bigger project ones that maybe can catapult you to a higher levels even behind that. If you look at Thomas Tuchel and if you look at Jurgen Klopp, I still think that Marco Rose, if given the opportunity, will take that chance.
Yeah, things a bit tricky right now for Borussia Dortmund. A loss today against Freiburg, and definitely one to watch going forward what's going to happen to them this season and if they will make the top four.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.